Hey, this is JGen11 back with another video. I got Swampert with the lead and Stunfisk and Excadrill in the back. This is a triple ground team. I was able to climb from the low 3000s to just on the fringe of the leaderboards. This team works very well with if you can manage your energy properly. Let's get right into the battles. First one, we got Swampert into Ferrothorn. This is about as bad as you can get. And so they're a little late on the Politoed swap. So it's looking pretty bleak at this point in time. Obviously, the Earthquakes do a little bit of damage. It's going to have to be kind of all on Excadrill at this point because we can't win the Politoed matchup, and then Ferrothorn will come back in for Swampert. So it's quite the uphill battle. So Politoed is pretty spammy, but we're able to commit to the second Earthquake to get a shield, which is amazing for us. And so we're just going to bring back Swampert in and just try to leave with as much energy as possible in case we need it in the back. He ends up blizzarding, which was, you don't normally see that play. So we go with the Earthquake because I don't think the Hydro KOs. I don't want to have to shield a Weather Ball. So he's staying in with Ferrothorn, which means he might not be particularly strong against it in the back. So we have to shield anything the Ferro throws because we get in risk of getting farmed down otherwise. Just because Excadrill is so glassy. So we're going to shield up again, and the Ferrothorn's pretty close to being in drill run range. And so then we see a Dragalge, which is not a particularly bad matchup for Excadrill, considering we have energy. But considering the health earlier of the Ferrothorn, it seems like having Excadrill in the back was the best chance to win, to get to a drill run. So this is a situation where you just commit to the farm. It ends up being a simultaneous KO, and then Excadrill comes back in with a drill run, and we're hoping that this is enough. And it just is enough to get through a thick team, a triple XL team at that. Swampert into Swampert. So how I like to play this matchup is don't shield anything on Swampert, pray to get a fast move in, and then only throw Hydro Cannons. And then as soon as the other Swampert throws its second Hydro Cannon, I'll oftentimes switch into my Excadrill to try to get, I guess, not have to lose another move or have to shield again. So I'm able to get both off. He doesn't shield, which is fine by me because I can get a couple mud shots with Excadrill. And he doesn't get to move. Excadrill with energy is generally fairly scary for a lot of teams. So Excadrill is taking super effective from the counters, but they are not stab, so it still takes a while to add up. So we're going to throw both of these, and then we don't want to get farmed down, so we are going to probably switch into Stunfisk. But he actually ends up throwing. And we just let it happen. Because the Excadrill is in rock slide range, and we are able to get there first. And I'll take it out, and then have Gallade, Shadow Gallade at that, and 2 shields, so it's looking pretty good for Stunfisk because 1 Earthquake will either take it out or put it pretty low. So their best win con was to call a Rock Slide bait, and I was not going to throw a Rock Slide, so GG's. Skarmory into Scrafty. This is the best place to see a Scrafty. Obviously, if Swampert goes down, Scrafty could probably power up punch through the Stunfisk and the Excadrill if it had a shield or 2. So 2 Hydro Cannons does not take out Scrafty, so you need either 3 Hydro Cannons or an Earthquake and a Hydro Cannon, and I learned this kind of the hard way. So typically, the Scrafty will throw a Foul Play to start and then try to power up punch and counter down. So I'm able to get to 3 Hydro Cannons, but I can't let Scrafty get any more energy. Fortunately, he ends up throwing again. So we're still going to switch right away to stop it from getting another fast move. Fortunately, the power-up punches do just about nothing, so I'm still fairly safe in saving shields for Excadrill. And it's really tempting for my opponents to shield their Scrafty. In that situation, they're just like, oh, these counters are going to do so much damage. So we're up 2 shields with an Excadrill. It's generally a good situation, and then we see a Kanto Muck. So Excadrill really dominates this matchup. You do have to throw both drill runs, but particularly when I'm up 2 shields and he's not, I guess I can farm down here. Now it ends up being a Dark Pulse. Sometimes the Alolan forms spray, but that was the Kanto form. So it's very interesting that he brought in the Muck first and then the Swampert. Swampert's not going to win down 2 shields, but it's certainly a much better matchup. So that's going to be a good game. Swampert into Dragonite. What I like to do is try to build up energy just in case I need it later. Then I safe swap Stunfisk into Empoleon. And believe it or not, Empoleon's not as good of a counter to Stunfisk as you think in Ultra League, because it takes quite a long time because of Stunfisk's bulk, and you definitely need to XL it all the way because the 100% still doesn't get to 2500. Mine's 96%. But if you Rock Slide bait the first one and that bait is successful, then you can double Earthquake before getting Waterfall down. So he could have at least tried to force the second shield, but he got a little greedy there. And Excadrill gets to flip swap, and then also with a shield advantage. So a very common team is to have Dragonite and Double Steel. It's been used in Master, Classic, or Master Classic has had Dragonite and 2 Steels, as well as Master Premier. And so here we have a Dragonite Dragonite Empoleon and Escavalier. So this is why I built up the energy, was to be able to use it later, and that was a good opportunity to use it. And so 2 Hydro Cannons actually gets pretty close to taking out Shadow Dragonite, just because of how glassy that thing is. And I guess with the Mudshot chip, this one is able to get taken out. That is going to be a good game. I have Swampert into Galvantula. So this is generally a good matchup for Swampert. So what I'm thinking here is that, I have 2 better counters for Galvantula in the back. So he's going to have good responses to what I have in the back. So I try to bait at least one of them out. So that's why I built up a ton of energy on Swampert, because I know I'm going to have to try to combo play, kind of tag team their best mons against my team. And so Politoed is kind of pretty bad against, particularly the backline, but kind of the whole team. So I'm waiting out the switch clock. I don't think a Hydro Cannon quite takes out the Politoed. No. He might have lagged 1. And then we can protect our Swampert a little bit. And so I'm still thinking like he's probably got another check in the back to Swampert. I actually forgot that Onion Frank actually told me his team, but I did not actually remember his team going into this battle. So you see me aggressively swap in there to try to get ahead on energy, and it ends up being a G-Fisk, which is somewhat of a neutral matchup. Obviously, the Earthquake takes out the Excadrill, and then a single drill run is not enough to take out the G-Fisk, but I'm ahead energy, and I'm a lot faster at getting to my moves. So that's going to be a good game. I was going to get to the next drill run before he got to the Earthquake, or it would have been a CMP. So Roserade's kind of an interesting Pokemon. You see it on the lead here. It kind of functions as a jack of kind of multiple trades. It's also very glassy, but it's like it's not as good of an anti-water as you would like if it's running Poison Jab, but if it's running a Poison Jab, then it's much better against like Charm and stuff. And no one really wants to have stuff that loses the Charm. So he's got to throw like a Grass Knot or a Leaf Storm. That first move was actually CMP on a potential Leaf Storm, but he didn't end up throwing it. That was a huge call in this game. Then he ends up throwing it after baiting. And so Empoleon up shield is not that bad for my team. The Draw Run puts it in farm down range. And so then I still get to leave with a ton of energy. And so I can, safely shield this and then potentially get to a move as well against something in the back. Unless this doesn't KO. It might not. This actually might not KO. It actually did. Okay. Then a Gallade. I end up saving a move there because I think I win CMP. Excadrill wins CMP against just about everything other than like Gengar or like Honchkrow. So at this point, he has to throw a close combat to kill the Stunfisk, and then I have a move already saved in the back, so this is a good game. Next game, got Swampert into Shadow Machamp. Very scary situation if the Machamp gets loose, aka the counters sneak through and I'm not able to sneak in my mud shots. It's just a 1 counter advantage. It means that they get to throw their third charge move on a CMP tie with my third charge move, and they're going to win that tie. So then it's still very scary for me to try to mudshot down with either of my back two mons, so I'm not opposed to going down shields, although Excadrill kind of really needs a shield, but Stunfisk doesn't have to have one. So I do an instant swap, and then it's something you definitely don't see every day. A Berserker can kind of go off right now because I don't have any shields, and then the close combat really hurts my backline. And then even double debuffed, the mud shots are not going to do enough to significantly impact the battle. So he's able to KO there. So this is kind of a very tricky situation to try to manage energy. He ends up having the Stunfisk, and so I'm trying to debate how do I manage this situation. So he ends up throwing a rock slide right away, which is really good for me because I can build up some extra energy on Excadrill. So I throw at 8. That was the last possible moment I could have thrown. It was initially I wasn't sure if he'd done 7 or 8, or he needed 7 or 8 if he had farmed up extra, but ended up doing the exact correct number of moves. And so I get the Jur run off, and that's a good game. Thanks for watching, guys.